I grew up in a middle-class family in this small town. It's called Thevakil. It's in Kochi in Kerala. And growing up in a middle-class family, the most important thing is budgets and money. We had a very budgeted life. We had a limited set of outings in a month. It was specifically 2 outings in a month. We had only meat come into our houses on weekends. Birthdays were celebrated a certain way, in a certain kind of, mom cooking or baking cake, and no outside celebrations whatsoever. So these budgeted outings are very, they're very calculated. So one of these budgeted outings, and this one in fact was a combined outing. So it was dad, a couple of his friends, all of our families, all of us went out. And this is typically how a day goes when we go out. So we all go out, we have some lunch, and then we go for a movie, and then we go home. This time what was special though was there was a circus in town. And I grew up in the 90s, so circuses were a big deal. And we kept cribbing and crying to our parents saying we have to go. And we also overshot on the lunch, so it was almost a no-no from them. But then our dads all huddled up in this corner and had this discussion saying, hey, we can just about make the tickets for the circus. And gaadi mein petrol to hai, there is no other emergency that can come up. How bad can it be? Let's take them for the circus. And we were given strict instructions saying, don't talk to anyone, don't look at anyone. And we nodded along to everything because we wanted to go see the circus. Now we went to the circus, and circus is in 90s again, so it was jam-packed. So my dad and mom got a seat together. We kids, the 3 kids from the 3 families, all of us got seats somewhere in the front. Everybody else sort of spread out, made space. Wherever they got a seat, they all sat down. And everything was going according to plan, and it was a lovely outing until somebody called the ice cream guy showed up. The ice cream guy showed up with these, so there are these lovely flavors I remember. Right now we are in this generation of chocolate chip and cookie ice cream being delivered to our doorsteps. But this ice cream guy had some interesting flavors. I remember the middle class family favorite was this one called 2-in-1. So you would basically get a chocolate and a vanilla cup for 10 rupees. And that was the hands down favorite. And my favorite though was this ice cream called Kasata. I don't know how many of you here have had it. And I remember when you see the ice cream guy, you cannot think any further than these 3 letters, which is EAT. So all I wanted to do was eat the ice cream. And I forgot all of my dad's advice. I forgot everything else. I took one Kasata. And I took one each for both of my friends who were sitting next to me. And when we were well into the ice cream, very well indulged in it, the ice cream guy obviously asked for his money. And I just remember, like, I turned back and I pointed saying, that man over there, please go collect it from him. And then what happened after wasn't very pleasant for neither the circus guys, nor the audience, nor my dad. So the ice cream guy was definitely there having a heated argument with my dad. And there were all of his friends, all of them trying to, there was certain clinking of coins that could be heard because that was all the money they had. And they clearly didn't have enough money. And for a second, we really thought there could be nothing that could be done. Now, this is the time of 90s, so there's no concept of ATMs whatsoever, right? Now, I'll tell you the closest you can get to ATMs at that moment. So they have money in their pant pockets, which is their normal money. And then they used to wear these really long boxers, which are these back pockets, right? So that was basically the ATM. And my dad's ATM was empty. So were his friends' ATMs. So there was no chance over there as well. And for a moment when we thought that everything is going to go berserk and everything is going to get ruined right now, something very, very amazing happened. The strangers sitting next to us, so somebody pitched in 2 rupees, somebody pitched in 5 rupees, and in a matter of seconds, we actually had enough money to pay off the ice cream guy. Now, what's the most amazing part about this night, except the look on my dad's face, was the fact that a group of strangers actually came together to help people out in a crisis. And I know you might be thinking, what a difficult child and all these things, but I like to think of it as me giving my dad an exclusive access to the crowdfunding platforms way before Kickstarter existed. In August of 2008, 2 guys by the names of Joe Gebbia and Brian Chesky pitched an absurd-seeming idea to a group of investors. Now, this is what they pitched. I'm going to try and quote them. They said, we're going to build a website where people are going to put up pictures of their most private spaces, their bedrooms, their bathrooms, the kind of rooms they usually lock up when people come over. And then, over the internet, they're going to invite complete strangers over and have them sleep in their homes. It's going to be huge. And the investors said, no, we don't think so. But there were a couple of them crazy enough to go out and invest in these two guys. And today, they are owners of a $30 billion company, which is considered the pioneer of the sharing economy, Airbnb. Airbnb works due to one thing. It works due to trust. There is a certain amount of trust that the hosts have in the guests and guests have in the hosts. Think about it. You are spending a night with a stranger in a closed room where you have no idea what the stranger might be. He could be a serial killer, he could be a murderer, he could be a vampire, he could be a ghost. And there is this mutual system of trust that they've established by which we believe that they're not. Now, I don't think this could have come 30 years ago, because 30 years ago was our parents' generation, which I hate to say, but is raised on skepticism. Let me give you a couple of examples, right? I want a show of hands, how many of you guys have been scolded by your mom for leaving your money loose at home while your maid is cleaning up the house? Right? It could be a 20 rupee note, but your mom has this fair assumption that somehow this maid is going to steal this 20 rupee note, retire from her life, move to the Bahamas, and start a fresh one under a fresh identity. Right? Now, another one is when you reach the mall and you're at the mall, suddenly your dad somehow starts having trust issues with the car. He's like, I don't know if I locked the car. And first off, he sends us to actually check if the car is locked. Now, you go there, and suddenly, when you come back, your dad happens to remember that you do not possess the superpower to judge between a locked car and an unlocked car. So what he does is he goes and double checks on it himself. Now, it's a generation of skepticism. Whichever brand is a scam, whichever offer is a scam, Uber is a scam, Paytm is a scam. And what is way more amusing than all of this is that somehow, after all of the skepticism, all they choose to believe in and forward on WhatsApp family groups is this. Back in school, there was this time when mom used to pack me lunch, and some of the days when she used to pack me lunch, she would pack me this slab of cake. Now, those are very lucky days for me, and whenever you took my brain activity on that day at any point of time, you would see this video of me playing in slow motion of me eating cake, playing in loop. And come lunch break, though, the picture would be completely different, because there would be 20 human beings I did not know existed before suddenly appear around me, all demanding for this small piece of cake. Now, I would smile on the outside, and I would share this piece of cake with them because I love my friends and I'm not a selfish person on the outside. So I would actually share this cake with them for friendship. And humans, as a species, are a social species. We have always evolved and existed as a group, which is why a lot of our actions are always looking for validation and approval from our friends. And not only are we looking for validation and approval, we are also looking at finding new friends. We never settle for the ones we have. We always are looking for more like-minded people. And I'm a bit of a nerd, so bear with me over here. This is what happens in our heads when we actually meet somebody like-minded. When you're having a conversation with a like-minded person, your brain sort of starts imitating the other person's brain with the help of something called mirror neurons. Now, mirror neurons sort of start lighting up the parts of your brain that is lit up in the other person's brain as well. So there's sort of a mirroring of emotions going on, leading to the most important quality that a human being possesses to be a social species, something called empathy. Something that we all have, something which is why we all desire friendship on another level. And we don't stop at becoming friends with somebody, do we? No, we always want to go and form a story with them once we become friends with them. I'm gonna stay silent on stage for the next 5 seconds and give you time to think of the top 3 moments from your year last year, starting now. Okay, so if anybody has started thinking on that note, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that most of you guys would have been thinking about an event with your friends or your family or your dear ones. It could have been a marriage, it could have been a road trip, probably it was just another Friday night which you don't probably remember really well. But it's always about having a story with your friends that always seems to get you going. It's amusing though, because we live in a time of 12D theaters and virtual realities and virtual worlds where if we choose, we could avoid human contact altogether. And somehow, this is when we need it the most. Now, when I started off Beatmap, it was about it was never about a big idea. It was about the smallest problem that I faced. Now, I really wanted some new friends because my current ones were boring, except for the ones who are sitting here today. But, uh, but this is all it was. I just wanted some new friends and I wanted to form some new stories with them. But there was some hassles. So I hated travel. I wasn't a big fan of clubbing or going dancing because I can't dance, even if somebody puts a gun to my head. And I didn't like the sweaty people that came with the dancing. So my favorite kind of entertainment on a Saturday night was actually a house party. Now, I had only one house, which meant I could only have one house party. And I started opening up houses of my friends for the same. And I started opening up houses of friends to start expanding it. And all through this, we noticed another problem which was sort of bothering all of us. We knew that we enjoyed these house parties best with one of our friends who was playing the guitar or doing poetry, some form of live art that took place in the event. But there were not enough places in the city hosting these artists as well. So these house parties were a welcome relief to them as well. Now, this is where Beatmap started off, right? Now, this is the big dream. How many of you are artists in the house today? Can I have a show of hands? Poets, storytellers, stand-up comics, dancers. Lovely. So this is what I have in proposition for you guys. What I want Beatmap to become is this place where this whole world becomes one big stage. And this is how I'm going to make it happen. What if this auditorium could be opened up to the public when it's not being used by you guys? What if all school and college auditoriums came on board this idea saying, we are open to the public on Saturdays and Sundays? What if every office space became a performance space by the evening? And what if I told you that your next performance could be at something like this? Guys, we are moving towards a world where the words infinite and limitless are sort of becoming extinct for all purposes except for in the dictionary. And there is one word that is replacing all of them very strongly, and the word is finite. And this is the word we all need to keep in mind because there are only a limited number of resources that are with us right now, and there is growing strain on all of these resources day by day. So sharing is not an optional reality, it's going to be a way of embracing lifestyle in the future. And I'm proud to be standing here representing a generation, a time, and a product which has embraced the way of sharing, because every time, even though it requires me to close my eyes, turn the other way around, and trust fall into a stranger's arms, in the process, each time I find a new friend. And in the process, each time I create a new story. Thank you.